tes.
And last but not least, sebagai pamungkas, Bapak dan juga Ibu, langsung saja kita akan dengarkan bersama materi selanjutnya dengan tema yang lebih menarik lagi tentang Solution for Managing Inventory in the Digital Economy. Here is Mr. Bob Carver, VP Digital Inventory Solution, DSI, and now please welcome.
And the one thing that we are really seeing is that this is all about improving the customer experience, improving the optimization of the workforce, and improving the operational efficiencies within your companies. One of the things that is trending significantly is the use of mobile apps within the industry, and most customers are going to be completely online by about 2020. So you're finding that your customers expecting that digital experience to be in place, that you're going to utilize the data that you've been gathering on those customers, and you're going to utilize that in a fashion that is important for them to realize that the data that you've been gathering all these times, all these years within your corporations is being put to good use. You know, it hasn't been too long that we've all got the wonderful digital devices in place now, and I believe it's about 12 hours from now I'm going to find out that this phone that I've got is going to be obsolete. Because Tim Cook and the folks at Apple are going to be announcing their new iPhones over in Cupertino. But things are changing, and things are changing rapidly with the industry. And you've got to evolve, and you've got to involve that customer, because the end customer is the one that's really driving all of your business needs. So the data that's been gathered all this time, the customers are beginning to expect now that you're going to use that data and give it back to them in some way, shape, or form or fashion that's going to be indicative of the amount of data that you stored on them. So a number of things are happening. One, there's a significant data warehouse of information on the customers and their buying patterns and the way that they consume the information that's out there in the marketplace. Two, you're going to have to begin exposing that, and exposing that in the cloud in most cases. And that information in the cloud now becomes a suspect of security risks. And so for the folks that are IT focused in here, one of the things you're going to see over the next 5 years or so is the advent, and the folks from McAfee and other companies have talked about it already, the advent of a risk in the amount of digital information that's out there and being utilized within applications, and how you're going to ensure that that security stays in place for the end consumer as they utilize your applications. Operational efficiencies and optimizing the workforce, again, fairly straightforward, fairly indicative of where digital technologies are taking us. Optimizing the workforce is going to become even more important as we see the advent of augmented reality, virtual reality, robots and artificial intelligence within the industry. I'll get into a little bit some of the labor challenges that we see happening. And then the one thing that's happening as well too is that manufacturing organizations are looking at utilizing this digital transformation for collaboration. It wasn't too long ago that manufacturing organizations, especially within the supply chain, typically were part of the organization that really didn't do a lot of technology implementations. They were less likely to be impacted by the digital transformation. They were less likely to need applications that address collaboration with other partners within the manufacturing environment. That's all changing today. Manufacturing operations, just as with the distribution operations and supply chain operations, require data exchange, require digital transformation, require use of mobile front apps to a lot of their products that are out there in the marketplace to affect the exchange of information across their entire enterprise. If you look at the forecast for 2017, there was $1.2 trillion US forecasted to be spent in the digital transformation. Of that, a good chunk of that is going to be leveraging digitally connected products, services, assets, and trading partners, utilizing digital investments to connect all of these disparate portions. We used to call them silos of information that used to be out there. You've got to start looking at things from an end-to-end standpoint now. The supply chain visibility, your inventory visibility, your capabilities have to be addressed all the way from the original supplier all the way out to your end customer. A lot of the money is going to be spent in that areas. The second largest investment area really is going to be the whole omni experience and how that's transforming what's going on within the industry with the trading partners, with the end users, how your employees and others are communicating with each other. That omni-channel experience, again, visibility to data across the entire architecture, across the entire enterprise, utilization of that data that's going to give them a much more personalized experience. You know, everyone here is used to having personal apps on their phone, being able to kind of configure your phone or your smartphone or your device in a way that you feel very comfortable with using it. You know, how many of us have paid for most of the apps on our phone? There aren't a lot of people that have paid for the applications that are on their phone. So that's also another thing that's happening within the industry, is that this notion of shared resources is really beginning to take place. A lot of us are using free software. You know, you used to never be able to get free software. You had to pay through the nose for a lot of things you want to put on your PC. But now to your phone, you can load up an app. Well, it's happening at the corporate level and the enterprise level as well, too. You're not now taking products, you're not paying for those products, you're sharing that software across your entire enterprise with your partners, with your employees, with your vendors. And that cost is somewhere within the overall business architecture, but not within your firm. So our product is called Cloud Inventory. I've only got about 4 minutes left, so I'll kind of spin this up and run through this. I encourage you to go ahead and take a look out at our booth out there, the DSI booth out on the floor, or later on today, Amit and William, two of my colleagues, will be doing a presentation as part of the mobile workforce portion of the seminars on how to utilize mobile apps in the supply chain, how to utilize them to make yourself a little bit more nimble, a little more capable. But Cloud Inventory is a cloud-based system of record. So we are now taking inventory that used to exist within multiple different systems. SAP, Oracle, NetSuite, JD Edwards, Infor, products like that, or even warehouse management systems, old ledger systems, QuickBooks, companies that are doing things on paper, companies that are doing things in Microsoft Excel spreadsheets still. We're taking that inventory record, we're moving that up into the cloud, and then we're surrounding it with mobile applications to enable everything from the personal experience to data collection and business rules and workflow rules. We're then surrounding that with a layer of visibility. The ability to look at, both from a serialization and a track and trace capability, where that inventory exists within your supply chain, and the movement of all that. Probably the next biggest thing that'll be happening there, if you haven't heard of it yet, it's called blockchain. Blockchain is a system of record, a public ledger of the movement of everything within the supply chain and everything that touched that particular item. So you'll be able to look at any item that you may receive and be able to go all the way back to where the raw materials were sourced for that item. All as part of the record that's going to be in a public cloud. Integration, we've prided ourselves over many years. We've been doing it since 1979. We have certified interfaces to all the major carriers out there, certified interfaces to all the major ERP platforms out there. We've got the capability to isolate and interface to external systems in a fairly significant fashion. Labeling, we have an enterprise planning platform. One of the things that's going on now, primarily in the pharmaceutical end of the world, is the Drug Supply Chain Security Act. So by November of this year, at least in the United States, and it's going to be affecting global corporations as well too, every raw material has to be marked and tracked from the point of creation all the way to the end consumer. So the ability to serialize a small bottle of medicine and follow that all the way through the supply chain with a digital marking on it is in place in our product as well too. Analytics, we've got a significant BI stack, allow you to drill down in, create dashboards, and look at that supply chain information. And then on the functional end of it, we've got a suite of manufacturing capabilities. We've got a suite of warehousing capabilities. We've got a full channel management capability, so you can do vendor managed inventory, direct to store delivery, route sales type operations within a remote inventory bucket. Product location, the capability to track and locate product anywhere within the supply chain. And then sales, service, and delivery. All of these running against the cloud-based version, mobile application front ends for a personalized user interface, a digitally transformed interface, and the capability to look at your inventory record wherever it resides within the world on a single system. Another unique option on this, and we're seeing it more and more in disconnected areas like farm-to-fork farming communities and areas like that where there is no mobile cell phone signal or there's no Wi-Fi. All of our applications are designed to work disconnected. So for instance, if you have a farmer who may be tracking seeds for a large produce or agricultural company here in Indonesia, he can actually do inventory management on his cell phone. Next time he goes into town, or maybe he goes back to his house and there he's got mobile coverage there, he can sync up with the application, maintain the inventory at that point, and continue to track even though he's in a disconnected fashion. So both online and offline operations within a product, allowing it to be used fairly flexibly across any type of system architecture. So with that, I've just got about a half a minute left. The focus is on the customer. The end customer is the one that's driving us. The end customer is the one where the personalization has to come into place. They are the ones that are telling you, you've got to start doing all this. It used to be that you told them what they could have. It's the other way around now. The end customer is demanding digitization. They're demanding mobile-first apps. They're demanding that all that data that you've been gathering on them all this time is starting to be utilized for something that's important to them versus something that's important to you. And they're demanding that you do it safely and securely and don't risk their personal information. If you saw just recently, the big credit rating facility in the United States, Equifax, just had, I think, 140 million people, all of their information completely disclosed to the public out there in cyberspace, something that you don't want to have happen when you're exposing that data for them to be able to utilize from a reporting and a delivery standpoint. So that is it. I'm going to let you get on to your MacBook Airs and lunch. And again, ask you to join us out here in the hallway, and I appreciate your time. This is my first time to Jakarta. I absolutely love the town. I love the country. And how'd I do on my bakit, all right? Thank you. Take care.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bob Carver.
Tes, tes.